All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully everybody can see the puppies on their screen right now. We're going to do a quick introduction of all the little puppies, at least the ones that are done munching right now, because otherwise they would not be very happy with me. These guys don't have names right now, so during the duration of time they're in the whelping home, we refer to all of them by color. So let's see who we're gonna pick first. So this little puppy right here is Little Miss Light Blue. That's Mr. Green. This is our second boy, Mr. Red. Miss Blue. We will have to take a momentary pause on the other three puppies because they've decided to go back for round 2 of dinner. So we will throw you guys into a little demo. So when the puppies are between 3 days old and 16 days old, they'll start being introduced to ENS, or early neural stimulation. So we're going to go over what that looks like. These guys are right at the cusp. They're going to be transitioning away from ENS and start working on our puppy educating curriculum. All of these exercises are just designed to help set them up for life as service dogs. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll pick one of the puppies. Miss Light Blue got a glowing recommendation from Diane, so we'll see how she does. So to start, we take the puppy out of the pen, and we're just going to do tactile stimulation. So that's taking a little Q-tip and we just rub it on their paws for 3 to 5 seconds. And I know it's a little hard to see, but she had really no awareness that that was happening. And that's what we want, right? We don't want to see a big reaction from them. They just take these things and rock on. So next we'll pick the puppy up and hold them straight up to head up to the sky for 3 to 5 seconds. And just like Miss Light Blue was doing, sitting nice and still, she's not uncomfortable in those situations. She's just taking it as it comes. And then we'll put the puppy in between our hands and hold them head down to the ground. Good girl. And flip over on their backs for 3 to 5 seconds. And she's just hanging out. Some puppies enjoy it a little more than others. She's quite happy hanging out like that. And then the last one is thermal stimulation. So we have a damp cloth that was in the fridge, so it's cool to the touch. And I'll tilt you guys down. We're just going to place puppy on the damp cloth for 3 to 5 seconds. Oh, good job, little miss. Good job. And again, she did a really good job rolling with the punches there. And all of those things are just introducing some really mild stressors with them and helping them develop a strong stress response, which is obviously very important for our service dogs in training. So I think it looks like Miss Euchre is done feeding babies. So we'll introduce our last 3 and then I'll pass it over to Caitlin to go over some of the other stuff we do. Little Miss Purple, who is not appreciating being held in this moment. We have Miss Pink and Little Miss Orange, who I'm told is the rowdy one of the bunch, the little instigator. Okay. All right. So I will pass the floor over to Caitlin. Caitlin's going to go over some of the stuff we introduced to these guys in the whelping box. So if you can see in the corner of the whelping box right now, we just have one little dangly toy in there. They also have a stuffed animal right now, but now that they're getting older, we're going to start introducing more stuff every single day. So I'll pass that over to Caitlin.
Thanks, Emma. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Puppies, early education is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I have a little list to keep me on track, but please stop me and ask any questions along the way or at the very end. We'll be here for some questions too. So really our goal of whelping our puppies in whelping homes is to just provide them with a really safe, comfortable space where they can passively be exposed to lots of different stimuli. So you can see, like Emma pointed out, the hanger there with some dangly things. That's not really invasive to the puppies at all. They can go and explore it as they want. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. So it's a really passive experience. Just like training in all our other stages for service dogs. We don't want to force them into anything. We want them to enjoy it as their choice and have a positive experience. So what we really want to build are confident, resilient puppies. So just like doing the ENS, we introduce mild stressors to them and let the puppies feel a little bit of stress and then realize, oh, it's okay. It's just a hanger. It's just a stuffed animal. And my mom's still here and my siblings are still here. So they're learning in a really comfortable space when they're this small. Their eyes would have just opened last week. They're just going to start going to the washroom on their own. So it's really just a gentle experience for them at first. So as they get a bit older, we're going to start. In the first couple of weeks, we will put some things in like stuffed animals, maybe a rolled up towel. Maybe we'll put a crinkly sound underneath the towel. So as they're walking around, they walk on it, it makes a sound, and then they keep on trekking. And it's not scary for them because they're learning, like I said, in their really safe space with their mama. But as they get older, so there's a perfect example, it's a little bit different from climbing over a brother or a sister, different from climbing over mom's legs or her tail, but it's still soft. And a lot of times you will find puppies sleep under it. They'll like nest right under it. They'll sleep right up against the leg. And you can see them exploring it right now. And we're just walking around it. And that's really such a great experience for them already. So this really just creates an opportunity for the puppies to explore. And so as they get older, we'll start to put some other challenging things in the whelping box. Sometimes we'll put a little step in, just a one step so they can step up. And then 9 times out of 10, when they're learning, they fall off. But it's just a really low little step that they can learn how their bodies work. And they'll try again, and you'll see them start to master one step, which is really great for them. As they get a bit older, we'll put some other novel experiences in there. So sometimes we'll hang like a rope across from corner to corner. So as they're walking, it brushes on their back. Very similar to what they're going to experience with a jacket one day, sitting on their back. So it's a really first experience, super low key for them to learn what that feels like, other than being pet by a person or licked by their mom or a sibling. So one of our fun rules that we like to have is by the time the puppies are 7 weeks old, they have been experienced to at least 7 new surfaces. That can include, sometimes we have winter puppies, they get snow. Sometimes we have our summer puppies, they get grass or leaves. Crunchy leaves are usually a really fun one for them too. Different floorings in the house believe it or not, like some puppies have never walked on hardwood or linoleum or carpet. So yeah, we'll really try and offer them lots of different spaces to explore. A part of our puppy educating program is to teach them how to respond to food as well. So these little guys will nurse from their mom probably until they go home to their puppy raisers. But they'll also start to eat kibble, and you all know how much our labs love kibble. So our puppy educators will start to use kibble to guide them into a sit, just to play with them a little bit. We'll clip a leaf onto their collar and they can just drag it around. A lot of them pick them up in their mouth, as you can imagine. And it's just a really fun way to feel these new things before we're taking an 8-week-old puppy out for a walk. You can imagine how overstimulating that is for our babies. So all of this is to say that we really like to create a passive experience for them, so that they can get a handle on their bodies and the world while they're still close with their siblings and their mom. Anytime we do a new experience, we'll try and take mom with them. So Euchre will go into the new space. You'll see them nursing a lot. It's their comfort, kind of like a baby. And yeah, we'll just help them to really feel comfortable in any new space. So as you know, we'll start to take them when they're bigger to the grocery store. They've never been there, but all of these little things that we're doing are going to set up the dog to understand it's okay. I trust my person. I've been through a little bit of stress before, but I've recovered. And that is what we love to call resiliency. And a resilient service dog is the best kind of service dog. Does anyone have any questions about what you're seeing in the whelping box right now, or anything that I chatted about? Just come off mute if you can, because I can't see everyone on my screen. No questions? Did I see a chat? Maybe not.
Hey, Caitlin, it's Lynn. I see someone in the comments saying, how old are these puppies?
Oh, thank you. I can't find the comments. I thought I saw something pop up. How old are these guys? If they're coming out of ENS, they're probably 2-ish weeks old. Paula, when were these guys born? I can't even remember. Beginning of November?
November 5th. So they're 19 days old today.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, and so they're going to start food really soon. We will take puppy kibble and soak it overnight and then mush it up. Lucky Diane. It doesn't smell the best, but the puppies think it does. And it will basically be like soupy oatmeal. And we'll put it in a big dish for them, and they walk in it and they fall and they're covered in puppy slop. They love it. And slowly but surely, we will increase that amount of food for them. We'll stop soaking it as much so it's a bit chunky. They can learn to use their little sharp puppy teeth until they're ready to go home eating solid kibble. And they'll stop nursing from their mom. Does anyone else have any other questions?
It can be very specific questions if you guys want to know if there's like a specific item we expose them to or a specific experience. Some of the things off the top of my head are like they'll start being introduced to the sound of the vacuum, the sound of a hair dryer, classical music, sound of the TV being on, all of those everyday sounds that we want them to be used to as a service dog. Oh, Tom wants to know how to become a puppy educator.
Yeah, if our people are interested in learning how to do it, they're more than welcome. Currently, our puppy educating circle is whelping homes. When you don't have puppies in your house, we ask those people to volunteer to go into other whelping homes and do the puppy educating. But if there's anyone that's super interested in it, I have lots of litters throughout the year that we're looking for help with. So you can either reach out to myself or Tara as well. We can get you involved in that if you wish.
It's one of the best jobs, I won't lie. It's really fun to go and do that every week. And so as they grow, we'll start to do different things with them. Each week there's like a little different task that we do, whether it's training or taking the puppy by themselves into a different space, and they're by themselves with their puppy educator. And it might be their first time at being alone. So that's a really fun experience too. They are probably starting to get some of their teeth now, to be honest, Tom. And as they get food into them, it kind of helps to speeds up the growth there, and they'll have their sharp little razor teeth in no time.
A fun little thing about feeding that we do. I thought of this when Caitlin was talking about little puppy jackets. So when they're super, super young and they're eating as a group, we put little baby bibs around their neck, but with the bib part laying on their back. So it's like that first introduction of something on their back. So just picture 7 little puppies with 7 little baby bibs on their back. It's the cutest little thing. And yeah, it's a nice little intro to what it's going to feel like when they're a little bit older and they start wearing that jacket.
Good point, Paula. There's lots of things that we do, and I think week to week, you know, a whelping home can feel like having a puppy for 7 or 8 weeks can be a lot, and it often goes by fast and slow all at the same time. But there's so much that we do, and we value our whelping home so much to give them this real life experience right from the get-go. So they can hear the blender, they can hear the dishwasher, the grass being cut, all of these things that you don't think you need to expose a puppy to, but we do naturally until, you know, I don't know if anybody has seen some of the videos in our volunteer group, but we have like little kid play structures outside, and the puppies love to run up and down them and jump off and just explore the tunnels and play with each other outside. So it's hard to believe these little wee babies who are just finding their sea legs. We'll be doing that in just a couple of weeks together.
Emma, you were saying that one of the little guys that you were holding with the orange collar, so this kind of an instigator. At what stage in their development do you start seeing the personality traits come out? Is it like within the first couple of days, or like how long until you kind of see those little traits pop up?
I can answer that one for you if you want. Usually when you even start to do ENS in those first couple of days, as they get a bit bigger, you can tell the reactions. So some puppies, like you saw little Miss Light Blue, had really no reaction. And, you know, if we have this group of puppies here and they start to find their legs and they'll start to bark at each other, puppies are born with no sight, they can't see, and no hearing. So they have these little thermal sensors on the side of their nose, and that's what they use. You'll see puppies, this is my demonstration, they'll like bob their little head side to side, trying to find the heat from their mom or siblings, and until their eyes open. And then around 3 weeks, around the 21-day mark, their ears will open. And it's really funny to see puppies bark, and then they are stunned because they can hear themselves making noise now. So I would say quite early, at least until, you know, even up to day 10, you can start to see their personalities really shine through, especially the rowdy ones. They always stick out. So what we will do towards the end of the puppy's whelping experience is we'll take the puppies and do a temperament test on them. So it's a standard test that a lot of service and guide dog schools use internationally. And we have like a little, think of it like a little puppy, what is the word I'm trying to look for? Like a little course with a slide and stairs and different underfootings for them to step on, noisy toys, and we'll take them through the course and we'll see how they respond. Like we said, we really look for those excellent, resilient puppies. We'll like open an umbrella, and it's a bit scary if you've never seen an umbrella being opened. And then we put it on the ground and we'll watch the feed. Does the puppy go and explore it, or do they run away? And we'll often use that information along with our whelping homes observations to match our puppies with puppy raisers. So sometimes we have a puppy who might need a lot more support. And so we'll put them with a puppy raiser who has more time to dedicate to them. Or if we have a really chill and relaxed puppy who doesn't really, react to a lot of things, maybe we have a puppy raiser who's going to take the puppy to work. That would be a really good fit for them. So yeah, we take into account all their personalities, all their reactions. Everything we do is for a reason. And then we watch them just grow, match them with our puppy raisers appropriately. And it's fun to see a dog at 2 years when they graduate and how similar they were in the whelping home as well. So there's lots of nurture happening, but there's always nature too. Well, their awesome genetics come into play.
Also, just throwing it out there that we are still looking for a few breeder caretakers and whelping homes. So if anybody has any questions about what that role entails and wants to throw them out there, we'd be happy to go over that. Or you can always reach out to Lauren as well if that's something you might be interested in. Like Caitlin said, it's definitely a lot of work, but you get lots of puppies to cuddle all the time. So
yes, and lots of helpers too. Like our puppy educating program is, it's such an excellent support system. I can't imagine, I always have wanted to whelp. One day I will whelp. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. You have to have some space for sure, just a bit for the puppies and the mom, but it's a really beautiful experience to welcome a mom into your home, be there if you want for her labor and delivery, her whelp of the puppies. It's really very cool. And then, yeah, you weigh them, a lot in the beginning to make sure that they're drinking and eating and growing. We cut their nails from a very early age, so they're used to that as well. We'll brush them, do lots of the dog things, but there's so many added dog things that we do as well. And with the support of our community, it's a really fun experience.
Oh, me again, if that's okay. And if nobody knows me, I actually work for NSD, so I should know some of this stuff, but I don't work on the puppy side of things. I had a question. I know personally that this litter, only some of them will stay with NSD to be trained. What stage and how do you make the determination which dogs stay and go?
And so some of our breeders are fully belong to NSD. So we choose a stud, we breed them, we whelp them, we raise them, and then they go out to puppy raisers and they all stay with us. Sometimes we will donate or sell a puppy or two to another service dog organization, which I think a few of these guys are going to be doing. We love to share the wealth, as we call it. We know these guys are well bred. They've had tons of genetic clearances, tons of health clearances. They're the top of the top, really. That's what we want to reproduce. But we also have dogs part of our ABC program. So those dogs, I'm trying to think of a breeder that we have who is ABC. So she probably came to us from another school as a little 8-week-old puppy. We raise her like any other service dog, or it can be a boy too. And when they become of age to possibly breed, if we like what we see, then we will mate them with another dog from anywhere across North America. Thank you, Chip. Yes, our girl Chip. So when Chip comes into heat, we will reach out to all of the other service dog schools in North America who are a part of the breeding co-op. We will find the perfect match for her. We will breed her, and then some of her puppies will stay with us. Say she has 8 puppies, 4 will stay with us and 4 will go out to other service dog schools. And it's a really great way to share our really great genetics with other service dog schools. They could go to California to be raised, and maybe they'll be a guide dog one day. And it's really cool to follow along their journey. We just welcomed, I don't know if anybody knows FOSTA. She is being whelped right now with Pat and Bruce. And she's an ABC dog. So she and 2 of her puppies will be traveling back to the States on Sunday to go to other service dog programs and work with them in the States. And the other pups will be staying with us and another local organization as well. So it's kind of fun to see how they all fare, being raised a little bit differently, different environments, different experiences for different programs, and to see how they all do in the end.
And just like all of the other dogs, we're taking into account their personalities up until this point, and then their BCL testing that we do at 8 weeks. We'll look at all of those pieces to make a decision on which pups are staying at NSD and which pups are going to other schools.
And I think part of the question was when, which I guess when is when we do those tests, which oftentimes is when they leave the whelping home. It's the same day that they leave the whelping home and go to their puppy raisers. It's kind of a game time decision that we often make, but we as a team make it, which is nice.
Yeah, and when we do our puppy tests, so as you can imagine, there's lots of different programs out there. So, NSD does our PTSD dogs, autism, CAI, companion. So we need dogs that are, yes, resilient, but usually a little bit more low key. There's other service dog schools and guide dog schools who place guide dogs or hearing dogs or diabetic alert dogs. And the temperament of those dogs they're usually a bit more uppity. They have a really high work drive. They want to work all the time, and that's great. We don't often have a program for those dogs because of the programs that we serve and the clients that we serve. So usually around that 8-week mark, we will say, oh, one of these puppies is going to Southeastern guide dogs. We'll try and pick the puppy with the personality who shows us that they have like maybe a higher work drive than all of their siblings, and go and give that puppy a chance to shine in another type of program for a different type of client.
I think it's funny you were saying that, Caitlin, and Diane said that's not Euchre, who is their mom, and that just furthers your point. That would have been how her school decided that she was a good fit to come to us in the first place, that she's a low-key dog.
Yeah, Euchre actually came to us from a school in Alberta through the ABC program. She was not chosen as a breeder for BC. One of her siblings was, and we thought she's still the cream of the crop. We're going to breed her. So we were able to do that, and we feel very fortunate to have some puppies of hers now.
I have a quick question.
And just in case anybody's curious.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. I've been hogging it.
So you ladies mentioned a little bit about the puppy testing. I have always been curious what that puppy testing day looks like. What are the parameters? How do you score them? Like, I don't know if this is like a state secret or if you're able to share. Just kind of how that goes, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So our puppy temperament test is a very standard course, if you will. So we have like a piece of paper with a diagram of where to put the tunnel, where to put the umbrella. So many service dog and guide schools do this across the world, not even just in North America. So we have our standard guide, and then we score them using a behavior checklist, which I think you've heard Emma say BCL. That's what we call it for short. So it's a big, long checklist. I think there's like about 50 different things that we score, and we score them from absent to severe. So it's like a 5-point scale. So for example, we will put the puppy into the testing area. One of the very first things we do is we leave them for 30 seconds. So we look to see, does that puppy walk around and explore? Do they just sit down and look around? Do they have a pee? We watch to see what is their reaction in a brand new space, and we'll score that. reaction to an unfamiliar space. Then a person will come in and we give them some cookies and we see, are they afraid of this stranger? It's one of the staff members. They know most of us. Are they happy to see a stranger? Do they run away? We score that as well. So the test is really about 7 minutes. It's not very long, but we run them through a little obstacle course, lead them up some stairs. Do they want to try it? They've never seen these stairs before, but they will have experienced some other steps in their whelping home, like I talked about. Yeah, and then we, like I said, open an umbrella, we run a vacuum, we drop a can of pennies. It's like pretty noisy, but we like to see, we'll drop it, the puppy usually startles, and then we like to see, it's all about the reaction. Do they go and check it out? Do they run away? Do they seek support of the person that's running the test? So yeah, we really like to see more so their reaction to everything and that resiliency and recovery time for them from like a new and sometimes stressful stimuli. And
Is
so we
the
do
idea that a higher score would be optimal, I guess, when going through it, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the end of it all, we look to see, so we give the puppies a score from 1 to 9. And often if a puppy has a score of 7, 8, or 9, it means that they are suitable for any program. We would say you could be a service dog, you could be an autism dog, you could go PTSD. In that moment, we believe you could do any of these programs. If we score them a 4, 5, or a 6, it usually just means that we believe they would be suited for a specific program. And on average, most service dogs score a 6 on their puppy test. If the dog gets a 1, 2, or a 3, we usually just need to keep an eye on it in puppy program. We usually will match that puppy with an experienced raiser, just so because we know they need a lot of support. I'm watching this puppy dream kick in the whelping box. Anyone else see that? Oh my gosh. It's so cute. So the fun part with our testing is we do it at 8 weeks, but we'll do it again. We do it 2 more times. Usually we try to do 2 more times. So it's the same setup, the same BCL that we use, and we like to compare. We just like to see, oh, you were a 6 when you were a puppy, you're a 6 as an adult. And it's really just interesting to see, like I said, where their genetics come into play, and where their raising experience comes into play as well.
I saw get a lot of 9s. Sorry, I know I'm monopolizing this. I'm just so curious.
No, that's okay. We don't usually get a lot of 9s. A 9 has to be like a perfect, like a pretty excellent dog. We usually don't see 9s in like puppy tests, 7s, 8s, maybe. Usually 6s, to be honest. And then as an adult dog, when they are about to go into university, we run this test again and we score them. And if you're going to go to university, usually you're scoring like a 6 to a 9. If you're a 9, we're probably keeping you for breeding because you're
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
no
someone
problem.
in the chat was asking about the scoring. Does it just one person that's scoring, or like multiple staff members and then you average it out?
Thanks, Lynn. So usually as a learning experience, we often score together. We also videotape the test so we can go back and look. I will answer your question there about how do you select for breeding, Tom. Yeah, so what we usually do, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What we usually like to do to pick for breeding is we look at their scores for sure, but we keep an eye on them all throughout puppy. As they're transitioning homes, as you know, they are puppy raised and they go to an adult raiser. We want to see how they transition homes because that very much mimics how the dog will transition to a client one day or how they will transition to a whelping home one day. We look at their health, we look at their siblings and their sibling health and temperament, their parents. A lot of it is based on health for sure, but temperament as well. And the BCL is just like a check mark on the whole list of things that we look for breeding. Was there another question in the chat there? Sorry.
Yeah, Alyssa asked, are they able to find out the puppy scores of previous pups for curiosity's sake?
I'm sure sometimes, we don't like to share them only because, and sometimes it just biases a puppy's experience. So, if maybe you're a teacher and you're getting, I heard the student was a A+ student, you might maybe color them a bit differently only because you expect a lot from them. So we just try and let puppy raisers go in with a blank slate more so than anything. And sorry, we were talking about scoring. For a learning purpose, we often score together. We videotape so we can go back and say, do we think that puppy was absent or a very mild for different items on the test as well. So it's usually one person who will actually do the check mark sheet, but we do it as a team often.
I'm wondering too, if you guys do that, like, do you match, like, this was the puppy's score, this was their score as an adult, and then they were exactly what we thought? Like, that's curious to me, because if you think that like a 6 becomes something or a 7, 8, 9 becomes something, like, obviously those scores mean something because you continue to do them. And so do you do your own kind of internal quality control? I'm just curious.
Yeah, and so when we get dogs from other service dog organizations as well, we love to see their scores, because sometimes you'll get a dog from another school that scored a 4, and we are all trained the same to score our dogs, like our puppy test, the same way, so it's not biased. But it's interesting to see for sure, where those puppies sit on a puppy test.
And the thing too with the puppy test, what I like to validate everyone's feelings is that at 8 weeks old and this 7-minute test, it is a blip in time. Like, I see the puppies once a week and I'll be like, oh, wait till you see this puppy. Like, he's going to rock the whole thing. Like, he's gonna be great. And then he gets in his test and like he gets a 2. But then like the rest of his puppy, like in training journey.
I think Paula was just trying to say, like, we take it for what it's worth. We're not going to look at that score and only base all of our assumptions off of those few scores. You're all very well aware that we're all, as a staff, very involved in the puppy's life the entire time. So we're looking at all of the things throughout their life. The test scores are just nice to look at and compare, and a lot of the dogs will have very similar scores from puppy test to their adult test.